Hey guys, number one Marmaduke fan here. I really enjoyed the first volume of Kalala Princess. I'm looking for manga for my niece who's going through her Disney princess kick. I loved volume one enough. I figured, yeah, this is good. I'll get the whole set. She'll love it. So, this is going to be a combo review slash rant about the packaging. So it turns out that Tokyo Pop has put out multiple editions of this book, and Amazon doesn't do a very good job labeling those. So if you just go on Amazon and buy like Volume 1 used, Volume 2 used, you might get a very different edition of Volume 1 and 2. So buyer beware. So there are manga minis, which are like the size of half a volume, which is what ended up kind of getting me screwed up. There's a brand new edition that's 2024. I don't know if volume 2 is out, but it looks like this is basically the equivalent of 2.5 of these guys. So I think they're going to try to pack the entire series into 2 big volumes. So this would kind of be like the nice new pristine edition. And these would be kind of like the standard edition that a lot of libraries had from 2004 or so. So I'm probably going to buy these for the purpose of a gift for my niece, but these are perfectly adequate for review purposes. All right, so that's the little publishing, buyer beware quibble aside. Let's talk about the series itself. Spoiler-free, fun. There are some quibbles I have with the plotting of it, but I think a Disney princess fangirl would get an absolute kick out of it. I think it's I thoroughly enjoyed myself. It is like a balls to the walls action story, which is one of the things I enjoy about good shoujo romance. Is they are not afraid to like pull out all the stops and spoiler, Kalala gets shot in the back on screen in one of these books. So go, but that's your spoiler warning. All the spoilers are on the table now. Pro con of this series, it is very tightly packed in 5 volumes. So pro, things are moving. Boom, 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 boom. There is never a dull moment. Con, I wish we did get a little bit more time to spend with Kalala and her handsome boyfriend, Prince Ray of the shirtless sleeves. Now, the reason that's a con is things are just moving like chaos. You're always getting these new twists to the point they even become like comedic. Like just when I think I should know the story. Oh, who's going to be the 7th princess? Well, clearly she's fated to be the 7th princess. And then giant plot twist. What could possibly happen next to throw me for yet another curveball? So that's actually kind of fun for me, but it ends up being a little frantic. Here's an example. Most of the characterization for Ray and Kalala happens off screen. They basically fall in love and are an item by the 2nd or 3rd volume without even having like a, I love you conversation, right? Like they're basically boy and girlfriend before they have the conversation, making it clear that they are officially boyfriend and girlfriend. And a lot of this gets conveyed through these very sweet, very brief little interactions that they have during Ray's limited screen time. So there's like a scene where they're captured and she's catastrophizing. He just kind of like head bumps her slightly softly and tells her to not be a silly head. And she takes comfort in that because she knows he's not being mean. He means it the opposite of the way he says it, because he's so dreamy and he's so nice and he loves her for who she is. And at the same time, he gives her pushback when she's kind of being a little too gung-ho and a little too insane in the risks that she takes. So it's a great little relationship, and a lot of that is communicated through these very brief, immediate sequences. The Disney princess sequences also suffer a bit. So sometimes a entire Disney princess, story arc will be stuffed into half a volume, which means we have to introduce her into the next world, discover the problem, solve the problem, learn a lesson from the princess, get out. I think these are editorial constraints, and even some of the artists and author comments in the marginal notes made it clear that the editors were very hands-on in the direction of this series. Like the editors wanted some changes to the art style. I kid you not, in volume 4, the editors asked for a new character to be a rival for Kalala, and so they just like run into Princess Ray's betrothed princess who he's supposed to marry, and he's betrothed to a goth baddie princess from the kingdom of Floradiso. Because Disneyland's in Florida, right? Okay, and it's just like thrown at you. They just like run into her, and now she's along for the adventure from that point on, and she's got a bad attitude, and Kalala has to like convince Sylphie to not have such a bad attitude and help them overcome their challenges. That's exactly what I'm talking about. I dug it. I was like in stitches the second that Sylphie what's great about it is Kalala's arc is about feeling inadequacy. She has to become a princess, but she wasn't raised a princess. She wasn't born of nobility, so she feels not prepared for the task of going to the balls. She doesn't know good table manners. So the arc, of course, is her continually facing problems that deal with the fact that she wasn't born a princess. People judge her. People look down on her. She's not sure if has what it takes to help Ray save his kingdom. But then each princess teaches her a lesson about what it means to be princess-like. She applies all these and becomes a princess to save the kingdom. Very straightforward, archetypal plot. Now I want to talk about the plot twists. Oh boy, that was the part that really spoke to me. Was I should know this story. I should know what's coming, but there's a communist revolution. Okay, so Ray isn't a prince in a fairy tale kingdom. Ray is a prince in the real world, the kingdom of Paradiso. And the kingdom of Paradiso is suffering from a coup d'etat from people who want to overthrow the monarchy and make everybody equal. All right, so they're communists. They're putting people in gulags. Yet, if Ray can find a princess is fated to help save the kingdom. So what I love is it's fairy tale logic being applied to a real world problem. Like, they don't have to negotiate with the communists. They just have to like blast them with the power of divine magic and restore the monarchy. The communists, by the way, are robots. They're not humans, they're humanoids, because they're turning people into robots, because if you take out someone's heart and give them a mechanical heart, then it's easier for them to be happy and they behave, and you don't have all these dumb problems like love, because they're communists, and that's a very realistic depiction of what communists are like. All of this is dumped into like 3 pages of exposition in one of these books, and then it's off to the next Disney princess world. And I'm just down for it from beginning to end. Very fun, balls to the walls action. All right. So let's talk a little bit more about plot twists and the Disney elements. So one of the more awkward things about this is clearly a Disney princess commercial. Are the Disney princesses well integrated? And I'm kind of like on the fence on that. They did a pretty good job where each princess emphasizes a different lesson for Kalala. I was really impressed by the Cinderella one, by the way, because most people, when they talk about Cinderella, they get confused on the story of Cinderella because they've heard feminist discourse on Cinderella. It's called Cinderella syndrome. So Cinderella syndrome is where a girl obsessively serves someone who beats her and hopes that just by serving him and loving him enough, she'll fix him and then he'll stop hitting her. And I think it's a disservice to Cinderella to call that syndrome, which is a real problem. You shouldn't call that Cinderella syndrome because the character of Cinderella isn't actually like that at all. Cinderella's story is about endurance, and Cinderella in the fairy tale takes all the actions to escape from her abusive situation. It's true the prince comes at the end to help her, but the only reason that happens is because Cinderella aggressively finds a way to survive and get out of her abusive situation. So what's kind of interesting about, since Kalala is a modern person, when she shows up in Cinderella's world and sees the stepsisters abusing her, the first thing she says to Cinderella is, well, why are you letting them do that to you? Are you scared of them? And Cinderella's response is just like a very graceful, is that what it looks like I'm doing to you? So it's what she learns from Cinderella is not that Cinderella is just taking abuse for the sake of taking abuse. Cinderella has learned how to endure abuse with patience and grace until she can find her way out, which is why when the stepsisters tear Cinderella's dress, it's such a heartbreak, because Cinderella's done everything right up to that moment. That's the moment where they're just denying her any opportunity to ever escape from their clutches. Now, Kalala, of course, when she sees that, she runs and jump kicks the sisters, and then she accidentally screws up the story of Cinderella because she loses the crown, which is her way of getting out, and she messes up the magic, because the fairy godmother's magic is tied to the crown. So Kalala has to be careful, because when she's in the Disney princess world, her actions can change the story and affect things in a negative way. So she actually has to pay attention to what she's doing, which is it's a great way of adding a little extra tension to Kalala experiencing the story that we all know and have seen before. So that's an example of, I think, of the princesses being integrated in a very cool sort of way. Other times it just feels like she has to meet all the 6 princesses, and it's that pacing issue again, where she doesn't slow down and spend enough time with them to really get, I'd say, like, linger on the moment and kind of like learn from the moment and then apply it before we have to leave the world and go back into the regular world. Was that all I wanted to say? Yeah, I think that gives you the idea. So very fun. If you love shoujo romance, you're going to love this because it's a very authentic shoujo. Oh, wait, there was one more thing. Okay, so again, very straightforward. She becomes a princess, happily ever after wedding. There's a really cool denouement where after she gets married, she still has to learn all of like the violin and piano and courtly manners and table manners. And that's a lot for her. And that's the thing that she's not good at. That's been her struggle this entire book. And so then she remembers that, there were orphaned children who were orphaned by the communist revolution. So she decides she's going to build a school for the orphaned children. And she herself gets involved in like the construction efforts. And people kind of like comment, oh, that's our princess? She's getting her hands dirty building the school. So what's kind of neat about Kalala is the lesson she gleaned from the princesses is to do the hard work of learning the manners and the dresses and all the courtly etiquette stuff. But she is still truly herself. And what makes a princess is not the dresses and the crowns and the jewels, but the willingness to serve her people, which she has in spades. Therefore, she is a good princess. I just thought that was a very clever little denouement after the happily ever after, where they do live happily ever after, but that doesn't mean that there isn't work to do after that. The happily ever after is she's now the person capable of doing princess work. So fantastic. I think my niece is going to love this. Total balls to the walls fun with plot twists galore. So check it out.